Hello everybody, thank you for joining me for my review of the 2017 film, Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, directed by Matin McDonagh and starring Frances McDormand, Woody Harrelson, and Sam Rockwell. And I have to say this movie was really good. I really liked it a lot. Definitely one of the better movies I've seen this year, and I can understand why there's such good word of mouth and even some awards talk for this film. I thought it was excellent overall. And there's a few reasons for this. Number one, this is one of those films that kind of mixes drama, kind of a crime story as well, and some very dark humor, which I would say about 90% of it worked, which is always amazes me in a film like this, how the writing and directing can balance out this type of thing. It can be very tricky, but I think Matin McDonagh does a very good job with that. All the acting is really fantastic in this movie, definitely awards worthy. This might be the best performance I've seen Frances McDormand give, and that's saying a lot because she's done a lot of really good ones. Woody Harrelson and Sam Rockwell are also very good, as are a lot of other actors. Peter Dinklage is in this movie. John Hawkes is in this movie. The whole cast is really excellent in their roles. No complaints there at all. The main story is very compelling. Basically, just to give a brief outline, it's about a woman who doesn't really have any closure because her daughter's killer is not found, so she takes kind of actions into her own hands. But this film is more of an excellent character study than it is like a crime story, I would say. There are elements of, a crime story in this film, but it's definitely more of a character study drama, and it's done very well. And that's because all of the characters are fleshed out and compelling. The three main characters for sure, but some of the supporting characters are pretty interesting as well. I always like films where characters are interesting and they're not perfect. All these characters definitely have issues of their own, but that's what makes it a better film. You have interesting and compelling characters, but always believable characters. The soundtrack for this film is really good. It's very understated in a lot of places, and I think that works very well. The song usage too, not necessarily all my type of songs, but they work well within the context of the film. I also like the way this film is edited. It's also very fast paced. I was interested in this movie immediately, and it never really slowed down. It had a pretty solid pace all the way through. I really enjoyed that as well. If I do have a few slight complaints of this movie, I mentioned how most of the humor works 90% of the time, and this movie does have a lot of tone shifts, and for the most part it works, but there were a few times when there's some pretty abrupt changes from drama to comedy in this movie, and I thought a few times the tone was slightly off. I even felt a bit uncomfortable in one scene. Maybe that was the point, but I do think it's hard in a movie like this to keep the tone just right, and I thought there were slight problems with that, but it definitely didn't ruin the movie at all. Also, this is not something I usually bring up, but if you're someone that has a hard time with a lot of strong language in movies, there's a lot of strong language in this movie, and although it doesn't really bother me, it doesn't ruin movies for me. I did feel a few times like it was kind of unnecessary and a little bit overdone. Like I said, I have no problem with some foul language in a movie. Sometimes it fits the characters and it even can enhance a movie, in my opinion. But in this case, I thought there were a few times when it was slightly overdone. But like I said, it didn't really ruin the movie for me in any way. So overall, Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri is a very gripping film. I think this will be one of the more remembered films from 2017. Time will tell, but it's a very unique story with very memorable characters. And it did leave a dramatic impact on me as well. I really liked how this film played out. So I'm going to give Three Billboards a 4.5 out of 5. I highly recommend this film for anyone who just like good character studies, good dramas, and with some dark humor mixed in. So 4.5 out of 5 for Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. And as always, thank you very much for watching.